Hey everybody, happy Friday! Charlene Adzima here again with Irish Fiddle Foundations. I think we're on week 22. And last week we worked a little bit on John Kelly's Concertina reel. And I know I did not teach it note for note, but hopefully you got something out of all those slow downers and other methods for learning tunes by ear. So today we're going to use that tune as an example of how to do variations. Now, in Irish music, we thrive a little bit on variations. And it's kind of a tricky subject because some people say, well, a tune really needs to go this way. And some people say, oh no, it really goes this way. But I subscribe to the Johnny McGreevy school, who was asked, I believe, in Chicago many years ago, Johnny, doesn't this tune go this way? And they play it, and he says, oh, yes, absolutely. And someone says, no, I thought it went this way. And someone else plays it, and he says, that's right, too. And in fact, the great Irish fiddler also out of Chicago, Liz Carroll, wrote a tune called That's Right, Too. And if you haven't heard it, go check it out. It's a great one. So we're going to talk a little bit about ways for the uninitiated to kind of delve into variations. If you're kind of coming from a classical music world or a place where you think music is just one way and that's the end of it, this is going to be eye-opening for you, I hope, a little bit. And to start off, we got to have a standard tune. We've got to just learn it the way we learn it. So we're just going to use the A part only from John Kelly's Concertina reel. I am not going to even bother putting up my map because the tune itself is like A, B, 8 bars, and that's it. And the A part itself is already very repetitive. It has 2 bars. The first time you play the 2 bars, you end on an E. The second time you play the 2 bars, you end on a D. And then you do the whole thing again, and you've got your 8 bars, and you're onto the B part. So let's go ahead and just grab our notes. Okay, so let's know our notes first. So we start, here's the phrase we're going to learn. I'll play that first. And then there's some pickup notes. Okay, so it starts B, E, E, D, B, C sharp, D, A, B, D, B, B, D, A, F sharp, E. All right, so those are those notes. Let's do it again. Okay, we'll skip the pickups for the moment. And that's just the first phrase, all right? Second phrase, same thing, but be prepared to change the ending note. Open D, okay? We'll do it again. Oh, I skipped my pause there, didn't I? Maybe we'll skip a few pauses. Let's do that whole A part, okay? You're going to get really good at this. E. Now your pickups are F sharp and open A, okay? Be ready for the D. Pickups are exactly the same, F sharp and A. All right, let's do that many, many, many times. Have some fun. Here we go. guys. So before you move on, make sure you've got that A part like pretty solid. Like you can mess around with it, as we are going to do right now. So in the world of variation, we generally pick it up, I think, mainly two ways. One of them is we hear somebody else do it, and the other way is we come up with it on our own. Okay. Um, Whether or not it's a good variation is in the ear of the beholder. So I highly encourage you to experiment and try stuff out and to just listen if people say, I don't think that quite fits in. And see if you can solve that. But we'll in the meantime, you're just learning. It's okay to make a few errors, and it's hard to understand if something's an error unless you try. Okay? So here we go. There are three main ways to do variations. Now, I'm not talking ornaments. I'm not talking cuts, rolls, flicks, any of that stuff, bow triplets, for the most part. I'm talking about, let's start with addition. So we start with the same number of notes that we have, right? And you'll notice that most of the notes are eighth notes because that's how reels go. But what if, some of them are quarter notes too, right? If we did... Oh, and by the way, for those of you going, oh no, all you're playing are dotted notes or some version of triplets. In Irish music, we don't think about that too hard. That's called swing, and it's very boggy if you try to pinpoint exactly what the length of those swing notes are. They're all eighth notes today. All right, here we go. So eighth notes. That guy right there is a quarter note, right? Okay. So what we can do as a bit of fun is we can play the add note game, right? All right. So let's for those of you again in the classical world, you've probably heard of subdivision, right? Where you take more difficult rhythms and you play them all as if they have like if you have a quarter note and you want to play just all eighth notes, you change that quarter note into two eighth notes because eighth note plus eighth note equals quarter note, right? Or if you have a dotted quarter note, that would be three eighth notes worth, right? So in this case, we're gonna play two eighth notes instead of that quarter. All right, so here we go. Boy, that was busy. And you know what else it did? It obscured the phrasing a little bit, right? The phrasing, of course, is like a little musical sentence, right? That's the end of your sentence. And then you have a couple of pickup notes to get you into the next group. Right? So it's kind of a question, answer sort of thing, call and response. So I am not against messing around with those transitions between phrases, but you do have to be careful because if you mess with every transition, then you have no phrases and the tune is just like a big blob and that's no fun. Right? All right. But this we're doing exercises. We're trying stuff out. Let's what else do we have to add notes? Because I think eighth notes are all we have. Oh no. Do you remember in jigs we were working on trebles, right? Which in our case is really like 2/16 and an eighth, right? So if we can divide a quarter note into eighth notes, I believe we can also divide an eighth note into 2/16. Now don't get freaked out. We're not going to like turn every eighth note into a couple sixteenths. That's ridiculous. And I feel like rather fruitless. But what we can do is make a little connection. There it is. So I'm looking for two notes that are within a beat, if you counted in groups of four, 4 beats per measure. So in this case, I'm looking for a B and a D, and they're separated by a potential C sharp, right? So instead of, we can go, okay, I know we haven't done trebles and reels yet, but just jump out on a limb and give it a go, okay? So let's see what we get. easiest way to find a spot for a treble. Find a gap and fill it. There are other ways to do it too, right? So if you know that is a gap. It's like, what note do I use? I don't know if I love that. I don't know if I love that either, if I'm honest. It's all right. Experiment. Well, that's busy. Let's get really busy. Here we go. Very busy. Wow. I like to think of that busyness as like, sort of adding like energy to the tune. Sometimes, if you keep adding busyness, then that energy kind of like flattens out, and people start going like, oh, I've had so much. I don't know if I can take it anymore. I'm worn out. I need fewer notes. So that's where note subtraction comes in. And it's surprisingly effective because, right, we always talk about, well, more is better in many aspects of life. But sometimes also true is less is more. So here's where we really cut it down to the bare bones of the tune and say, like, how few notes can we get away with and have it still sound like a tune? Like this tune. What can we do? Let's try this. That might be a little too few for me. You kind of have to pick and choose, but it's still a good exercise. Oh, so those were just quarter notes, right? Let me do it again. What about dotted quarter notes? How about oh, that's crazy, right? So, okay, let me put it into context. Busy. Not busy. That was interesting. Yeah, so you can try stuff out, see if it makes sense. Generally speaking, I would say that our held notes, our longer notes are on one of the downbeats, like on 1 or 3. I would say, but prove me wrong. Go listen to some players and see if there's another spot where they put them. Okay. Lastly, we've got addition, we've got subtraction, and now we've got change. Like, let's actually change some of those notes. So for instance, we have, right? What if we did this? Well, that's cool, right? Oh. Woo. Boy, you don't know where you're going to go. And I learned sort of a fun way to do this from, again, the great Liz Carroll, fiddler out of Chicago. She said, because she's very well known for not just writing great tunes, but also coming up with killer variations and just really messing with a tune. And one of her techniques, she said, was to get yourself lost in a tune. Like, choose a note that you know does not go into the tune and find your way out. What shall we do? So instead of B, maybe I'll go to an F sharp there. Let's see if I can get my way out. Wow, you really go wild there. I mean, this is not for not for the faint of heart again. But I would have you mess around with this tune, but then go mess around with the ones you've got already. Okay. In Irish music, a lot of people who are not used to it, and I remember being this way too. You listen to the tunes and you go, wow, they all sound the same. And in a way, you're not wrong. That's how you know it's Irish music, right? It definitely has that yai da 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 da, that sound to it. As you get used to listening to it, and I mean like really used to listening to it, going like, I know a jig from a reel. I can tell two separate reels apart. I can tell, which player is playing which tune. I mean, you can really go deep. Um, you're gonna find like all sorts of similarities, and I'm not sure where I was going with this. I'm so sorry. Um, anyway, this is a great this is integral, I would say, to playing Irish music on any instrument, and to kind of get used to listening for those variations, listening for those what you might perceive as an addition, perhaps a subtraction, perhaps a change of notes, and learning to be okay with it and recognize, oh, that's still the same tune, even if it's not the precise notes that I was taught. Okay, that's all part of the process. So I think that's me off my soapbox, and I will see you next Friday for, oi, I'm not sure yet what, but that's part of the game anyway. Okay, so see you later. Bye bye.